Welcome to the Libraries and Weight Rooms podcast, your trusted source for simple strategies to improve your mental and physical fitness. Throughout this podcast, we will discuss how you can manage your mental health by practicing mental fitness, building emotional resilience and curiosity to handle life's challenges. We'll also highlight the crucial link between physical fitness and your overall mental well-being. My name is DJ Ligori, and I want you to realize that you are not alone with this challenge. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and welcome to today's episode. All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Libraries and Weight Rooms podcast. My name is DJ Ligori, and we are on episode number 125, and I would like to say thank you and welcome to today's show. I've been thinking a lot about the Libraries and Weight Rooms podcast and the audience that I want to speak into and the problems that I want to help solve with this podcast. And I'm really excited to kind of see how this is going to develop over 2024. I have a lot of things in store, a lot of ideas that I want to test and see how the audience likes them and see the engagement that is received from it. And I'm really excited to kind of take some more shots with this podcast. And so today, what I want to talk about is something that I experienced a couple of weeks ago. And I just finished a CrossFit workout and I was getting ready to leave the gym. And one of the individuals asked me, he said, "Hey, Deej, by the way, what do you do for a living?" And I told him how I had started a mental fitness and leadership business. And one of the individuals who wasn't in the conversation kind of turned around and he goes, "What the hell is mental fitness?" He goes, "That sounds awesome." I said, "It is awesome." And I said, "Well, mental fitness is training your mind like a muscle so then you can handle hard things better." And I'd never explained mental fitness like that before, yet it just kind of came out of me. And I let that kind of sit, just kind of hovered in the conversational zone. And the guy turned to me and goes, "That sounds fucking awesome." And I was like, "It is awesome." So it's really cool to see people handle challenge better, both internal challenge, stress, anxiety, fear, things like that, and external challenge, such as meeting expectations, relationships, finances, things like that, with more mental strength, with more resilience and curiosity and things along those lines. And so I realized that that's really what we actually kind of help people do. We help people train their minds like a muscle in order to handle harder things. And if you think about how you actually train your physical muscles, it's very similar. Your physical muscles, in order to make them stronger or bigger, more capable, you apply stress to the muscle, then you let it recover, and then over time, it gets stronger, which means that it can lift more weight. Well, what if we applied the exact same concept to our thinking? You apply stress to your thinking, which means you actually sit in some thoughts. You reflect on certain ideas. You think about how you're labeling events in your life. You think about the behaviors that you are carrying out and the results that you're getting from those behaviors. You sit in those thoughts. You apply that mental pressure. Then you let yourself relax, right? And then over time, your thinking begins to grow. Your mental muscles begin to actually get stronger, which then means you can handle more as what I like to call life weight, such as meeting expectations, or when you get stressed, or when you get anxiety because of a social scenario, right? All these different things that cause us pain and challenge. We can actually improve the way that we handle that challenge by actually training our mind like a muscle. And so what I want to do today is I want to go through 10 ways that you can train your mind like a muscle going into 2024, because this is what I realized really helped me when I was struggling with some stress and some anxiety, not necessarily knowing what to do when challenge hit my life. This is kind of like the first 10 that really kind of stuck out to me, that really helped me take the time to understand what was going on with my thinking and how do I handle these challenges moving forward. So the first way that you can train your mind like a muscle is to remember that every event is neutral until we apply meaning to that event. So for example, a lot of people say social media is bad. I personally believe that social media is completely neutral, and the way that we decide to use it and label it is what makes it either good or bad. You can use social media to bully someone, to compare yourself to others, to judge others or criticize others and yourself. Or you can use social media to spread a really good story, raise a lot of money for a really good cause. Events are merely just events until we apply a meaning or a label to that event, which then produces a certain idea in our head, which then makes us feel a certain way about the actual event. All right. So if you want to start changing the way that you feel about literally everything in your life, start analyzing the labels that you're giving all of these events. It's going to change the way you feel about it. All right. Number two, life happens for you, not to you. This is one of the exercises we walk people through in our Acres of Diamonds mental fitness program is we look at an event that happened in your life that you initially thought was negative. It hurt you. And what ended up happening was that event actually gave you one of the greatest rewards you could ever ask for. And so what this does is this reinforces this idea that life happens for us. The events, the people that we experience, the moments, the memories, the passions, it's all happening for us. There's a greater service here. It doesn't happen to you, right? So I think that's something that is super important, right? If you stay in that belief, you're going to always try to find out, why is this thing happening for me? How is this actually serving me? Number three, people don't think about you as much as you think that they do. This is something that I've really been thinking a ton about, because I think as we begin to take more shots in our life, as we begin to change certain behaviors, people might judge us. So we might feel some feedback or some criticism or some opinions back at us. Yet just know that is an extremely temporary opinion. It's not something that they're thinking about all the time of, oh, here's the things DJ's doing, or here's the things that that person's doing. We do not think about people, or people do not think about us as much as we give them credit for. Because think about it. How much do you actually think about them? Right? We're all actually thinking about our own safety and our own progress a majority of the time. So let's really take the time to not give other people so much credit about what they're thinking about us. And also, how arrogant are we to think that we're that special that they're actually thinking that much about us? All right. Number four, we suffer more in imagination than we do in reality. This is something that was said by Carl Bryan in an email that I read very long time ago, and it has stuck with me ever since, because we can often project so much pain and so much suffering in our mind of what could happen, and then none of that stuff actually happens. Yet we experienced the exact same feelings of if it would have actually happened. So we end up suffering more in our actual thoughts and our actual possibilities than what actually happened in reality. All right. If you're easily offended, you are easily manipulated. This was also said by Carl Bryan. Here's a hint. Carl Bryan knows what he's talking about. All right. He has some great teachings. If you're easily offended, you're easily manipulated. What this does is this shows the power of curiosity. If you stay curious when you hear opinions and perspectives that you don't necessarily agree with, what you do is you allow yourself to simply listen to it and not get pissed off by it, right? You're not trying to close a loop that says they're wrong, I'm right. You're merely just here, yeah, I'll listen to it. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to agree with it, yet I'm going to be curious and I'm going to try and find the 10% of what you say that I actually do agree with, right? I'm going to change the way that I actually listen to this statement or this opinion or this belief that you're going to tell me. Excuse me. Because if we get offended, we're ultimately letting other people dictate how we feel. I think personally getting offended is one of the most average things that we can ever do, because it also shows us that we think that we're right with everything that we think about. There's a ton of shit that I think about that I think is right that probably isn't, right? That a lot of other people are like, no, that's wrong, DJ. I don't think that is correct. And what if you thought about it this way, right? I'm open to it. I'm open to being curious, because this is a journey, right? I personally believe that, excuse me, we are students. We're students of leadership. We're students of growth. I don't believe that we will ever get to be a master of leadership or a master of growth. This is just a very long journey of learning. All right. So if we are easily offended, we're going to be easily manipulated. Stay curious. If you want others to love you and be ridiculously attracted to you, make them feel seen, heard, and understood, and let them know that they're not alone. This is something where we can listen to people and actually try to understand what they are actually saying to us. Don't try to think about, all right, how am I going to respond to this? It's merely, what are they actually saying, right? Where are they actually coming from? How are they actually saying it? One of the things I have noticed in all of the Acres of Diamonds groups that we run is this very common desire to be seen, heard, and understood, because it makes people feel that they're not alone with the challenges that they're facing. And it makes people feel like they're actually understood, like they're not misguided, like they're doing the right things and they're experiencing human emotions, and that is normal. And that's something that if you can allow people to get to that point of where they're okay with getting a little bit more vulnerable with you, allowing us to actually see into some of their challenges or some of the things that might be holding them back, they feel more open and they feel more safe around you, and they're gonna be more attracted to you. Next thing, okay, now what? So here's where my hyper rationality is going to come into play here. A lot of the times I hear people talk about stress, or they talk about anxiety, or they talk about the challenges in their life. And I feel like they have decided to be defeated by whatever it is, whether it's stress, anxiety, or the challenge, whatever. My question to them is, okay, now what? Like, okay, right? If you're stressed, got it. You're anxious, got it. You had this really hard challenge, this really hard thing happen in your life, got it. Now what? What are we going to do about it? Are you going to stay in the stress or the anxiety or the challenge or the woe is me because you feel significant about it? Because it makes you feel like there's a lot of hard things going on in your life, and so people should give you that free pass to go through some things. Sometimes if you're a jerk to me in a relationship, you're going to use that as an excuse. Well, I've been struggling with stress and anxiety, so I can be really really jerky to you. Personally, I don't agree with that. I agree that what I believe is that things will happen in our life and then we respond to them. That's how it is. Okay, now what? Now what am I going to do? That's really why I'm such an advocate of mental fitness, because mental fitness is how we respond to challenge. If you are a mentally fit person, you respond to the challenge. Stress, anxiety, whatever it is, you take an action, you change a behavior in order to mask and solve or manage that challenge. And I think there's some people who just sit in the challenge, and they just enjoy being in it because it makes them feel significant. It's like not reading emails or texts or DMs, because there's all these people who are trying to get your attention and you feel important and you feel significant about it. I think that's something that if we really take the time to think about, like, is there things in your life that you can actually manage and you can actually control regarding your effort, your behavior, your actions, regarding the things that you think are actually stopping you? Here's the next thing: change your behavior to change your results. One of the things my father told me when I was really little: if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you are not getting the results that you want in your life, change something. Change the behavior, change your environment, change a routine, change a belief. One of the things that I have recently started to do is I change some behaviors in my life. I'm not personally going to get into those behaviors because they're personal to me and they're important to me. And I'm testing them out right now to see what the results are that I want, because I've been happy with the results that I've gotten in past, yet I want to 10x those results moving forward into 2024, which is why I have a lot of ideas with the Libraries and Weight Rooms podcast. So because of that, I'm changing a lot of my behaviors right now. I'm in the testing phase and soon to be in the measuring phase. All right. And this is just going to be a long journey of testing and measuring, finding out what works and finding out what doesn't. We are attracted to authenticity. All right. If you guys remember the one podcast episode I did about the one student in the high school of the leadership class that we did, how the student was super authentic. She was herself, and everybody loved this student. We love authenticity because it shows us that this person is confident with who they are. They're not trying to change so we like them. We either like them for who they are, or we don't like them for who they are. And that's okay with them. And we like that strength. We are attracted to authentic people because they ooze confidence and they ooze strength. And that is something that we want to associate with ourselves. So in turn, we start to look for authentic people. And then the last thing, this is something that I'm actively pursuing each day. Confidence comes from doing. I made a podcast once about courage versus confidence. And confidence is doing the thing with evidence. Courage is doing the thing without evidence. I think the evidence is built from actually doing the thing. Even if that thing is uncomfortable, as Darren Hardy would say, feel the fear and do it anyways. This is how we build the confidence. And what I've done in the past couple of days is I thought about what if all of the customers and the people that I serve on a daily basis, what if they could watch every single day of my life? How would I act? Because I know what I do, and that helps me be confident when I'm serving them, whether I'm giving a presentation, whether I'm doing a facilitation, a one-on-one session, whatever it is, I know how I've prepared. And that's what makes me confident because I have all this evidence of, yeah, I have hundreds of hours of doing this. So I'm confident that I know exactly what I'm doing. And you know what? If you guys want to actually even see it, here's what it is, right? Explaining exactly what it is. And I've been thinking a lot about that. I'm like, well, what if they could see everything that I was doing, right? They knew the person that I was trying to become to serve them. I think that's a really, really interesting reframe of understanding we are ultimately the ones building ourselves. And when we show up, we're going to show up either in the way that we're ready to roll or in a way that we're not ready to roll, right? And that's on us to be prepared for that. All right. So confidence comes from doing. All right. So if you apply thought to each of these concepts that I just ran through, every event is neutral until we apply meaning. Life happens for you, not to you. People do not think about you as much as you think that they do. We suffer more in imagination than we do in reality. If you are easily offended, you are easily manipulated. Both of those said by Carl Bryan. Make others feel seen, heard, and understood, and let them know that they are not alone. When bad things happen, when challenge hits you, okay, now what? If you want to change your results, change your behavior. Nothing changes, nothing changes. We are attracted to authenticity. And confidence comes from doing. Take some time and just reflect on one of these. And that is you training your mind like a muscle. You are applying pressure. You are applying thought to one of these ideas. And that idea is going to raise your awareness because you're going to ask yourself more difficult questions. One of the best lines I've ever heard was from Christian Simpson, who was one of my first mentors ever. And he said, our life is a reflection of the questions we are willing to be asked or ask ourselves. And I think that's really how you train your mind like a muscle. Ask yourself these questions, think about these ideas, then let yourself sit a little bit, sit in what you come up with, and then watch how you handle challenge moving forward into 2024. Thank you guys so much for your time and your energy today on episode number 125 of the Libraries and Weight Rooms podcast. As I mentioned earlier, my goal is to really create some good impact with this podcast moving forward, and I'm very excited to see what we can do in 2024. And as always, I'm super grateful for anybody who takes the time to listen to these messages. This stuff's important to me. It's helped me in ways that I can't even explain. And I hope that it can have a similar effect on you. So if you like today's episode, as always, give it a like, leave it a review, share it with a friend who might need to start training their mind like a muscle a little bit. And thank you so much for being here. So until next time, have a great week, and we will talk to you guys soon. We'll see you. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Libraries and Weight Rooms podcast. If you received something interesting from today's episode, we would kindly appreciate if you could leave us a rating or a review, or even share this podcast with someone you believe needs to hear its message. The Libraries and Weight Rooms brand is a division of our parent company, Acres of Diamonds, where we are on a mission to end mental suffering through mental fitness. If you would like to learn more about our mission and support this cause, please visit our website at www.youracresofdiamonds.com. Take care, keep leading, and we will talk to you soon.